Why are Prince Harry and Meghan Markle suddenly telling the world that their children are a prince and princess? Is this a bit of revenge against the British royal family? Hello everyone, welcome to Royal News Network. My name is Brittany, and today we are talking about the latest Sussex stunt. Yes, Harry and Meghan revealed through People magazine and their spokesperson that not only has their daughter Lilibet been christened almost 2 years after her birth, but now she has the title of princess. Yes, yes, yes. Everybody, this blew up on Twitter. Everybody was going, what the heck was going on? The royal reporters are like, yes, 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 I guess the palace is going to change it at some point. But what's really going on here? Because this stunt, not only did it come out of left field, it makes both Harry and Meghan look bad, which I don't think was their intention, but it makes the monarchy look bad too. So what the heck is going on? Why did this happen now? And what does this mean for the future of the monarchy and Lily and Archie's titles? Should they get comfortable with that? Or should they just enjoy them while they can until either their parents are stripped of their titles or Prince William does the deed King Charles could not? So we'll discuss all this today, but if you guys haven't been here to Royal News Network before, like I said, my name is Brittany, and on this channel I provide compelling royal commentary about the latest news and a little bit of gossip too. I'm working on my PhD, and I also am a very avid royal watcher for over 10 years. So we'll talk about a lot of different things on this channel, all related to royal. So if you love that, feel free to subscribe. I also have a newsletter, Royal Wire. I also have a fashion channel that's on a bit of a hiatus. In addition, we'll be having a couple trips coming up to Europe. I'll be the tour guide, and the focus will be on royals. So if you're interested in either one of those, one will be to Germany and Austria, and the other one I'm planning to Scotland. They'll probably be in August or September, so be on the lookout for that as well. But let's not take too much time. Let's get into this absolute insane chaos. And let's just make a caveat here. If you're not in the United States, People magazine is considered more the premier celebrity publication. So it's People magazine, Us Weekly, and In Touch, and then Star, and then everybody else down the row. So People magazine, though, it doesn't really do hard journalism. People magazine is basically just a mouthpiece of the stars. Essentially, the Star's PR spokesperson gives them a story and they print it. That is how People magazine works. It's very fluffy. It is sometimes they have little journalistic pieces, but most of the time it's PR fluff. That's what it is. So Harry and Meghan apparently wanted to tell People magazine, to tell the world, because we all need to know that their daughter was christened. Not only that, we all need to call her Princess Lilibet Diana. So let me go ahead and read you what the spokesperson said. And I forgot to mention before we start, you even notice in the subtitle here of this article that Harry and Meghan are trying to make their case for Archie and Lilibet having these titles, because they say, as the grandchildren of the monarch, Archie and Lilibet are afforded the titles of prince and princess. So they are making this case. This entire article, this entire stunt, is a way to make the case that yes, not only are they entitled to these titles, they should use them because they need to be a prince and princess. The title of the article is Meghan and Harry's daughter, Princess Lilibet, christened in intimate California ceremony. People exclusively confirms that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex held a christening for their 21-month-old daughter last Friday in a small and intimate ceremony at their Montecito home in California. When reached by People, and again, they weren't reached by People. Harry and Meghan gave this story to People. So there wasn't this People talked to them and confirmed. No, Harry and Meghan's spokesperson went to People magazine and told them, you can share this story. The spokesperson said, I can confirm that Princess Lilibet Diana was christened on Friday, March 3rd by the Archbishop of Los Angeles, the Reverend John Taylor. And number one, already, there's a huge glaring error in this statement. There is no Archbishop of Los Angeles. There's only a bishop. So the religiously illiterate Harry and Meghan and their spokesperson gave the bishop the wrong title. We'll get to their daughters in a minute. But what really irritates me about this whole thing is that Harry just recently said he believes when he dies, he will come back as an animal. Why are you christening your daughter in the Church of England, allegedly, if you don't even believe in basic Christian tenets? You're a nincompoop. My gosh, like at least believe in what you're christening your daughter in the church. It just screams PR stunt. That is what this is. a PR stunt. Goes on to say, according to a source, which is Harry and Meghan, Meghan 41 and Harry, I don't know why we're going with Meghan first and not Harry. It should be Harry, then Meghan, and Prince Harry, and then Meghan. Extended an invite to King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and Kate Middleton, but they were not in attendance. Of course they're not. They actually have jobs and works they do in the United Kingdom because Charles is running a flipping country. Now this is interesting too because I think it reveals a couple things. Number one, people go back and they go, they didn't even go to Lilibet's first birthday party. Yeah, in the middle of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, everybody had things going on that entire week. Harry and Meghan were just probably last minute going, oh, we want to throw a party for our daughter Lily. And they're all looking at them going, you know, there's like 1,000 other things going on right now. We can't all drop everything for your daughter's birthday. As I understand it, only a handful of Harry's extended family even went. And it was all the kids with their nannies. None of the adults who actually had things to do went to this birthday party. And I will say as well, Harry and Meghan, if they cared about any of their family attending, could have scheduled it before or after the Jubilee, when people would have time, not in the smack dab in the middle of it. They could have an intimate birthday party for their daughter after all the festivities. But no. They have to do it on the day when they know everybody's busy and they know people can't attend. I have no doubt that Harry and Meghan sent the invitation a week before this event occurred. That's what I think happened. And the monarchy's like, well, we would love to come, but you know, we're all exceptionally busy and we can't drop everything because we have a state we represent, a country. We have greater responsibilities than producing content for Netflix and Spotify because that's your guys' level. You're influencers now. So you have all the time in the day. We actually have real adult responsibilities rather than what Harry and Meghan are doing. So of course, some people now are throwing the royal family under the bus for this. But again, this shows as well too that I think why Harry and Meghan did this now. They should have done this 15 months ago or something like that. Their daughter's, what, 18, 19 months? They should have done this 15, 16 months ago. Now, that they're just doing this now is also screams that they were hoping for some sort of royal event in the UK and they were denied whatever they wanted. They were denied it, so they're like, okay, we're going to throw this stunt over here in the corner. And the royal family, they can't amend themselves to the whims of Harry and Meghan. And you got to think too, this came out right after the Frogmore Cottage stunt. So wouldn't you know it, it's probably in reaction to that as well, because this is all about, really at the end of the day, revenge. And don't worry, I will get to the title, guys. And then it goes into explanation. Again, this is from Harry and Meghan. After their grandfather became monarch following the death of Queen Elizabeth last September, Archie III and Lilibet were afforded the titles of Prince and Princess under the rules set out by King George V in 1917. People understands that the palace will update their website to reflect Archie and Lily's titles, which are currently listed as Master Archie Mountbatten Windsor and Miss Lilibet Mountbatten Windsor. I should say too that I think that is in addition to the article. I think they had adjusted with that because I don't remember reading that before. Goes on to say an insider tells people there were between 20 and 30 guests at Friday's intimate gathering, including Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, and Lilibet's godfather, and Meghan's future husband, Tyler Perry, and an unnamed godmother. Following the ceremony, attendees were treated to an afternoon of food and dancing, with Archie enjoying a dance with his little sister. And then this is what really irritates me. Perry was spotted arriving in Montecito last week ahead of the christening. He flew in for the ceremony from his home in Atlanta with a 10-person gospel choir that sang "Oh Happy Day" and "This Little Light of Mine," a song that was played for Harry and Meghan at their wedding. Okay, Harry and Meghan are not Christians. They are pretend actors in this space. And they're stunt by doing it in their home. They're not doing it in a church. They're doing this christening in their home months after they should have done it, almost over a year after they should have done it, because they were hoping for something grand or something better. That they're just doing this now. It all screams PR stunt. This is a PR stunt to try to get them back into the good graces of the public. Why? Because they're idiots and they don't know what else to do. So they decide to go ahead and throw the royal family and whatever process was going on behind the scenes under the bus by saying, oh yes, our children are now Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Now, it should be mentioned for sure that they're not using an HRH because their parents cannot. So Archie and Lily would still technically have to curtsy to the whales as kids. Just saying. But I will say, so going back to the letters of patent, there's really two arguments here. Number one is that Archie and Lily could automatically be prince and princess as soon as the queen died and their grandfather became king. The other argument is that because Archie and Lily were not born when Charles was king, they are not, the titles, the letters of patent are not retroactive. They're not taken back and going, okay, because now the letters of patent could be said are in effect. Now all of a sudden you're elevated to prince and princess status. There are two arguments there. And I think both of them have validity in a way. So this has nothing to do with Archie and Lily in many ways. This has nothing to do with them. I hope the kids are happy and healthy and everything like that. The issue here is that their parents have been railing against the institution for years and still gave their kids a title when Lily has only spent a grand total of 3 or 4 days in the United Kingdom. She has not stepped foot in Sussex. Archie has not stepped foot in Sussex. Meghan has been to Sussex, as far as I know, 1 flipping time. Why do they need to be a prince and princess when their parents are actively trying to destroy the institution that they're begging for titles from? It doesn't work. It doesn't work with Harry and Meghan. Their PR, their messaging is all over the place. It's like, we're independent. We're doing our own thing. Aren't we awesome? And then also, we should be royals. We should be treated as royals. Our kids should be royals. You all should kneel and curtsy before us because we are royalty. What do you want, Harry and Meghan? You have to be clear about this because this indecisiveness, it's what's also killing your brand. It's what's killing it, is this stupidity you guys have attached to still believing you can fully be royals and at the same time do your own thing, make your own money, make perhaps shoddy or shady business deals, and that the monarchy would just let you do whatever you want. And I think this isn't a reaction to Harry and Meghan know they're in a free fall. Again, we had the South Park situation. We've had Chris Rock. And I think we'll have more and more because the protection that Harry and Meghan put over themselves in terms of the racist allegations, I think are mostly dead at this point. And so Harry and Meghan, they don't have a lot of public support. They don't have a lot of public interest. People think they're annoying, which they are. They also think they're hypocrites, that they're classless, tasteless, that they're trying to destroy their family, that the family's only been gracious to them, all these sorts of things. So why would you decide for the institution you say is so terrible is to go ahead and tell the world before confirming it with the palace that your kids are going to be a prince and princess now? I think they tried to pull another Mexit. The question will be, how well will this work out for them? Again, the palace has said, yes, we'll go ahead and make the changes, but they're dragging their feet. I know it took a while for things to update in terms of the line of succession and stuff. It does take a bit, but they updated things pretty quickly when it came to the Queen's death, and this has taken a little bit because the palace was caught completely off guard by this. Apparently there were some talks in between, but Harry and Meghan, they just look like they're so desperate to recapture whatever magic they thought the monarchy had that they just went ahead and jumped the gun yet again and goes, well, our kids are prince and princess now. Will anybody call them that on this outlet? I probably will never call them that because I feel like as the time goes on and as the monarchies need to evolve, yes, you're having a title perhaps could be seen as a right, but it also should be a privilege. And if people abuse that privilege, if they abuse their positions, they need to be stripped of them. And that's the case with Harry and Meghan. They have abused this entire process, the generosity of the British people, the monarchy, the royal family, friends and family, everything. They've abused every single relationship they have in the desperate pursuit of money. And Meghan Markle is hoping to monetize off her children and their titles. And I want to tell her, number one, don't get too used to that because there's still a movement going through Parliament that could strip Harry of his titles. And I would assume their kids too, because they don't still need to be Prince Archie and Lily of Sussex because they haven't even spent any time in Sussex. That's just dumb. And if Harry really cared about his kids having a connection to their heritage, well, you need to go back to the UK. You need to suck it up, deal with your family instead of being this crazy paranoid lunatic in the corner screaming at everyone that you're not the problem yet. Every single relationship you've had in the last 5 years has disintegrated since you met your wife. The only people who are friends with Harry and Meghan are people who are like Harry and Meghan at this point. Those are people desperate for fame and fortune, who have very little talent, and hangers-on that are just wanting to be part of the Hollywood machine. And bullies like Meghan, or if she managed to get her clutches into somebody like Tyler Perry. And Tyler Perry, I think he'll really regret having this relationship with Meghan Markle, because relationships with Meghan just don't seem to go that well. And so let me pull up too, because I got I think it was from Camilla Tomley, and I got her email in the Telegraph about this, and I thought it was really interesting what she said here. So let me pull this up. She said, but as is ever the case with the oxymoronic Harry and Meghan, they cannot seem to see the hypocrisy in continuing to cash in on the very institution they constantly criticize for making their lives a misery. It's a contradictory as complaining about being at the center of a media frenzy that you are actively fueling with your own endless headline fodder. As with the financial imperative behind the move to the US, why don't they just be honest and say they can't afford to ditch the titles because it gives them more value in the States? Is this really about birthright or the right to book the best tables in Los Angeles restaurants? As the Americans say, go figure. Yes, absolutely. This is a stunt about making money, because Harry and Meghan, I don't think some people have said they're facing perhaps financial ruin or bankruptcy or something. I don't think they're quite there yet, but I think they are bleeding money. I think they're living way above their means. And at some point that does begin to catch up with you, and they're constantly filing lawsuits. They're paying for 24-hour security. I think exorbitant security beyond what they actually need. They have a massive home and they need to produce content. And while the book has sold well, the Netflix thing was watched, they're not likable anymore. Their likability goes down every time they open their mouths. And so because of that, now they're in this place where people don't really want to sign you, because if you're a business person and you're smart, you want to exploit their car crash mentality, their car crash whole careers, but you don't really want to fully get behind the brand of Harry and Meghan as if they're really going to make you money, because they're really not, to a certain extent. If you can get the car crash element there, but Harry and Meghan saying, oh, we're going to make rom-coms. Again, Netflix is like, we could pay anybody to make rom-coms. We hired you for keeping up with the Sussexes. That's why we hired you. That's why Spotify hired Meghan. It wasn't for Archives, which was a bore. It was awful. They hired her for dirt on the royal family. So if Harry and Meghan can't deliver, which I'm sure they're getting a lot of pressure to deliver, that's going to continue to drive up everything they're doing. Actually, it was funny. I went into a store today to get some equipment for my camera, and this guy, I mentioned this channel, and just a guy in a camera shop, and he's like, well, what do you think about Harry and Meghan? I was like, I'm not a fan. He's like, oh, me neither. He asked me, are they really worth that much money? And I'm like, I don't really think so. But again, I don't really know. Maybe they do have, they're sitting upon millions and millions of dollars. But again, the problem with Harry and Meghan is without talent, they're having to farm everything out. So I think at some point, they are starting to run out of bandwidth. They're not creatives. They're not that intelligent between the two of them. So it's becoming back to bite them in the butt. So they thought, okay, so it's become a crunch time, DEFCON 1. What do? We make our kids really royal. We give them titles. And again, apparently there was a conversation going on behind the scenes, but that did not give Harry and Meghan carte blanche to announce to the world that their kids were prince and princess. And the monarchy looked off-footed. They got caught in this maelstrom of Harry and Meghan. And I just wanted to say, guys, this is happening way too much. The dignified silence has worked, but you need to think 12 steps ahead of Harry and Meghan. And your ambiguity on this topic is the reason why Harry and Meghan could maybe, like terrorists, force you to do something you didn't really want to do. I think Harry and Meghan come out of this situation looking like petulant children that managed to pull one over by telling the public before the monarchy decided what their children's titles were going to be. And then the monarchy is left going, well, I guess okay. Okay, I guess that's what it has to be. And apparently Charles was wanting them to go the Wessex route. Harry and Meghan don't live in the UK. They have no connection to the monarchy, really. They're not talking to any of their family. Why do you need a title? But I think I'm going to criticize King Charles here, as he should have been on this from the jump and just said they're going to be titled as the sons of a duke, and that's it. Son and daughter of a duke. That they're going to be Earl Dumbarton and Lady Lilibet, and that's it. Because he left this this thing simmering. And as soon as Harry and Meghan needed something, they need a boost to themselves. They need a boost to their popularity, all these sorts of things. They're like, okay, well, let's make our kids titled. That way we can go to restaurants and say, we have Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, and they need coloring books, and we need the best table in the house. And again, Meghan Markle, all she has wanted for her entire life is for Hollywood to grovel at her feet at her brilliance, because she thinks she's the smartest person in any room. And most of Hollywood went no. And now she's pulled out this trump card attempting to get the monarchy to bend to her will. And it looks like, unfortunately, it succeeded. And I think that is a mistake on Charles. But I wouldn't count your chickens before, I wouldn't count your eggs before they hatch. Is that it, right? Yeah, I wouldn't count your chickens before your eggs hatch. Something like that. Anyways, because what has happened in Europe is that monarchies are stripping or pulling back the titles from the grandchildren, great-grandchildren, whatever, of the monarch who are born of the spare. So when looking at Sweden in particular, so Sweden had it where Crown Princess Victoria, she had the king's first grandchild. And then the next princess to have a child was the king's youngest child, so Princess Madeline, and she had Princess Leonor. So Leonor was styled Her Royal Highness Princess Leonor of Sweden. And that made sense at the time because Victoria only had one child, and Madeline was the next of the king's children to have a child. And so they were the only two grandchildren for a little bit. Well, then we got Oscar, then we got Nicholas, and then we got all three of Prince Carl Philip's children. So what the monarchy decided to do in Sweden is say, okay, so Princess Estelle, Prince Oscar are both his and her royal highnesses, because they will be probably working for the government, they will be royals, they will be working royals. But Prince Carl Philip's children and Princess Madeline's children have all been stripped of his or her royal highness, that styling. They're still prince and princess, they still have dukedoms, because the dukedoms work differently. They were actually awarded them at their christening, so the process works a bit differently in Sweden. But they are no longer his or her royal highness. That distinction has been made. Next we go to Denmark, and the queen there stripped the children of her younger son. She stripped them of the prince or princess title and instead gave them count and countess titles. So what does this mean for Harry and Meghan? Well, Meghan, enjoy those titles while they last, because I have a very, very strong feeling that if Charles doesn't amend something, if the government doesn't do something, your children at some point will be stripped back down to just the titles of children of a duke. So that means Earl Dumbarton and Lady Lilibet. I think that'll happen. And here's the thing. It makes sense. And I think they can amend the letters of patent, which I've suggested before for a while, that they should amend the letters of patent to say the children must be raised in the UK and go to UK schools to have the titles. A prince and princess in Hollywood is stupid. They have no connection to the crown whatsoever. So that has been my suggestion for amending letters of patent. And I don't think necessarily Charles is able to do it. He still thinks he can reconcile with his son. I think Harry and Meghan pretty much are a lost cause. Charles and the rest of the monarchy should deal with Harry and Meghan sharply, swiftly, and with absolute ruthlessness, because Meghan Markle is absolutely ruthless. And if you can't meet her level, she at some point will get something over you, like this situation. Most of the time, the monarchy does come out on top. In this situation, they do not, because they are not as ruthless. There was a quote from Valentine Lowe that the courtiers and other people within the palace, they didn't know what to do when somebody wouldn't be civil. You need to treat Meghan Markle like a hostile terrorist. You need to treat her as if she's this hostile force and deal with that appropriately. That means being utterly ruthless in some situations, and that means ticking Harry and Meghan off. Because unfortunately, the monarchy missed their window, because Harry and Meghan, as their popularity tanks, as Chris Rock very publicly calls out that what happened to Meghan in the royal family was not racism, then I think the monarchy had an opportunity to strip the titles and say, no, 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 they're just going to be an earl and a lady. And perhaps Harry and Meghan knew that. Perhaps Harry and Meghan knew that was coming down the line, and they thought they would just jump ahead of the whole thing and force the monarchy to capitulate. Now, all the royal reporters have said, and I don't really necessarily think it's wrong, that Archie and Lily will be updated to be prince and princess. but they will not be His or Her Royal Highness. So they will have to curtsy to the Waleses kids and the Waleses, which I think is kind of awesome. But I think this does Archie and Lily no favors. This does Archie and Lily absolutely no favors in the long run, right? Because they might be stripped of their titles later, and that might be hurtful. That's something that all the monarchies are doing, so I don't think that should be a big deal in the slightest, but that still might hurt. And their parents are setting them up for that. Their parents, once again, also look like massive hypocrites because when Archie was born, they wanted him to have a normal life and didn't want to give him a title or declined a title, but now they look like hypocrites. And Archie and Lily, what are they going to do with these titles? They look, I hate to say it, but on the international stage, they just look silly. They just look silly, walking around calling yourself Prince Archie. Of what? You haven't even been to Sussex. What are you talking about? And they only have their parents to blame. Their parents are setting them up for failure in a desperate cash grab to try to reclaim some of their flagging popularity because Harry and Meghan are too stupid to try to figure out how to make this all work. And that is Harry and Meghan's issue, and they're dragging their kids into it. And I think that's kind of reprehensible. They should have done the smart thing. They should have waited for the monarchy to make a decision. They should have gone ahead and just go, okay, well, they'll just be Earl Dunbarton and Lady Lilibet, or just say Lord and Lady, or just decline the titles altogether. Why do you need them? We thought you hated this institution. You've told us time and time again how terrible it is, and how Meghan Markle should have been made Queen of the Commonwealth because of her skin tone. And it's just not working. And Harry and Meghan, this is their desperate Hail Mary. And I feel like the kids are going to be the victims in this situation. The kids are going to be the ones suffering that because I think people now like the kids less and they like the monarchy less because of this. And what if the monarchy goes down and there's no titles for anyone? Did this ever occur to Harry and Meghan? Specifically Meghan, because she's the brains of the operation. We all know Harry is dumb as a box of bricks. This is all just absolute silliness. And I think especially when it comes to the religiousness of the service, I think Her Majesty would be rolling over in her grave about it. And I just think Harry and Meghan come out of this looking terrible. The monarchy comes out looking like they've been played. Nobody wins in this scenario, except for maybe briefly Meghan Markle, but really nobody wins. She looks like a calculating, vindictive, classless, tacky woman who's just desperate for any fame and fortune she can get and any money she can get, even if it comes off the back of her children. So guys, let me know what you think of this video. Let me know what you think of the titles for Archie and Lily. I would love to get your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.